So we're having problems with it being a street-friendly car. Great drag car, not a great street-friendly car. I'll put in a clip after the intro to show you what we're dealing with. But right now, I'm on my way to Asheville, North Carolina to get something that hopefully will solve my issue of it being street friendly. Hang in through the intro and we'll start out with the issue that I'm having.
I'd say it's a nut job.
So I absolutely love these carburetors. Now, this is not a carburetor issue. Don't even go there real quick. I love these carburetors so much that I had to have a pair of them on here. One of the downsides of these carburetors are their hair longer, which means I had to turn them sideways. These intakes are not made for carburetors to be turned sideways, so I had to make an adapter. I had to do a bunch of stuff, and I even made a video, the world's first dual VRS FE engine. I forget how it was powered, dual VRS powered FE or something along those, because I was excited about this, and it works amazing on the track. Here's where my problem lies, and I thought this could be a problem, so I've done something that you really shouldn't do, but I overly richened the carburetors because I wanted a rich condition, and I wanted it to really show up on the plugs that it's rich. I wanted no ifs, ands, or buts on these spark plugs that are rich. The spark plugs will tell you everything going on in the engine. You just have to pay them attention. So I richened this thing up, made it crazy rich. It seemed to run exactly the same, but I knew it was crazy rich because I wanted to look at the plugs. Let me show you what I found. It's so painfully obvious once you think about it. I'm going to take one from the passenger side and one from the driver's side. And keep in mind, yes, we intentionally richened this thing up because I wanted, no doubt, what I was looking at. Here is the passenger side plug. Here is, no, I'm sorry, wait a minute. This is the driver's side spark plug. This is the passenger side spark plug. See that? Now they're both obviously rich, but this one is way leaner than this one, or this one's way richer than this one. So I pulled every plug out of this engine. Every plug on the passenger side, white porcelain. With some pecan tan porcelain. Every spark plug on the driver's side, black. Let me explain to you, because it's so obvious what's going on here, and it's one of those things where you're looking for an oak tree in the middle of the woods and you can't find one, but your back's leaned against the only oak tree and you can't seem to find an oak tree because it's just so obvious that you're overlooking it. Here's what's happening. These carburetors are turned sideways. When they're turned sideways, this side has the primaries, this side has secondaries. When you're wide open, it's all equal. It's all the same. Or when you're above about 40% throttle, 35% throttle, somewhere in there, they're all the same. But down low, when you're just rolling off from a stop or you're putting low RPMs, you're only running off the primaries. And since they're turning sideways, and the way this intake's made, all your fuel is going to the one side. Now, in theory, people have talked about it for years, that in theory, the pull of the cylinder as it pulls will pull fuel from anywhere. Like if you pull puddle some fuel over here and the cylinder over here is pulling, it's going to pull some fuel over there and run. And it will. We don't see any that has dead lean. We don't see any of that. They're all rich. But it's not going to get all the fuel. You understand what I'm saying? It just gets a little whiff of the fuel. So the problem with this whole engine is the thought process that went into it ahead of time. I was so over the moon to run this trick flow intake and these VRS carburetors and to run this setup that it never dawned on me that with them turned sideways, I'm only feeling one side of the engine at low RPMs. And again, with that being said, the car was built to run wide open throttle. So for what the car is built for, this works perfect. There is no issue in this because if wide open throttle, this is going to work perfect every time. Going down the track, you'll never have an issue. But it's not street friendly.
When you're young, you can't wait to grow up and fall in love and get your own truck. Wanna spread your wings, son, but time sure flies. Wanna turn 21, get a little messed up, get out of college and make your own luck. Before you know it, boy, you're 35. That watch on your hand don't stop ticking round for no man. But when I climb up on that seat, staring down a hood painted face.
Well, there it is. Not the best intake in the world, but it'll do what we need to do for street yeet.
All right, now you know the game plan. We're swapping dual quad for single. And I think that's going to solve the drivability issue. But I'm going to burn up a few extra hours that I really don't have to know for sure. See, this engine has to come out of this car. Has to. And I know some people are taking a gasp right now at why, but we have a oil leak from the pan that I cannot get to stop with it in the car. So I need to take the pan off and reseal everything. You can't even get the pan to move with this engine in this car. It's got a larger oil pan on it, and it's not touching the cross member, but you might slide a business card between the two. So you're not getting any real movement out of that. So it has to come out for me to fix that. Now the smart thing to do would probably pull the motor out, fix the oil leak, put the other intake on, do all that, put it back together and go. But see, I don't have time to pull the motor twice, because if I swap the intake and that doesn't solve the drivability problem, then we're just going to stick one of these other engines in. But if I put the intake on and it solves the drivability problem, then I'm going to stay with this engine. Now, I know that intake is going to kill a lot of power in this engine. How much? I don't know. But I would say a lot. For what we're doing, I don't guess it really matters that much. But definitely want to make sure we solve our drivability issue. So before I do anything else, I'm going to jerk this intake off of it, put that other intake on it, put one of these carburetors back on it. We'll have to jet them back up, jet one of them back up because it's jetted down because I'm running two. But we'll put one of these carburetors back on it and see if that solves our drivability issues. If these carburetors were in line, I'd have no issues. It's because these carburetors are sideways that's causing me the issues. This is the part that breaks my heart. I love this air cleaner. Man, I absolutely hate taking these things off of here because I know there's a way to make them work. I know there is because I know some guys that are running sideways carburetors. Problem is, I don't know the trick. Could I figure it out? Hell yeah, I could figure it out. But it's all about time right now, and I don't have a lot of extra of that. So the more time I fool with trying to make these work, the less time I have to actually drive the car around and get ready for street yeet. So in this case, we're going to do what we got to do. Alright, we're trying to get all this stuff taken off. Got the carburetors off, got the distributor out. Gonna pull this expansion tank. I'm gonna get smart one day and invest the money in a radiator with a fuel cap and get rid of this expansion tank. I'm probably one of the only people left in the world that runs one, but I guess nostalgia. I like it on there. But it would be smart to ditch it. And before anybody freaks out, it's just water. There's no coolant in this car because, well, it's always been on the track, so we don't run coolant. There's actually never been coolant in this car. Well, since I've owned it, I don't know if Melvin ever ran coolant in it back in the day or not. I don't know if that was a thing back in the day, not having coolant in your engine on the track. And I'll be honest with you, there's probably still a lot of guys that run coolant and nobody knows it. I don't know if anybody else does this or not, but as I start getting into something, making changes, I always start questioning myself. Like right now, this is just a big single plane intake. Takes 2 carburetors. There shouldn't be any way only one side can fuel. As the piston moves up and down and creates that suction, it's a suck fuel over to the other side. So I'm questioning things right now, and I don't really have time to second guess myself, but anytime I start working on something, I tend to do that. I tend to start second guessing myself if I'm making the right decision or not. Right now, I feel like this is going to solve the issues, and then I can dive into the root cause of the issues when I get back from the drag and drive. It's really all I have time to do is just try to solve the issues with what's in front of me. Right now, believing I'm on the right track, because if it was something else, why would wide open throttle change it? I don't think it would. So we'll change this intake. We may put our chrome valve covers back on. These old valve covers have gotten dirty and starting to look kind of rough. So maybe we'll swap in the chrome valve covers when we go back together with it. I need to get these powder coated. All right, we got our intake here, and I'm telling you, this is a terrible intake. There's a bunch of people that swear by a book that's floating around out there. If you know, you know, and the book claims how good they are, and I'm telling you, they're terrible intake. Look at the size of the runners on this thing, the ports on this thing. They're just tiny. Like, I mean, tiny. I'm probably cutting my port size by a third. I bet this thing kills 75, 80 horsepower out of this engine. But if it fixes the fuel distribution issue, and that reaffirms my original thought that it's because I turned the carburetor sideways, which was my fault, then we can improve on the intake. You know what I mean? We'll find us a Dove or Victor Jr. or something along those lines. This was just an intake that was available to me at the moment. I'm going to sit it down on here and see how well it lines up with everything. There. And I just set it down on here. I'm going to take my bore scope and run down here, and I'm going to look and make sure that there's no port mismatch as far as it being off. Honestly, as small as these ports are, you'll be able to move this freaking intake a quarter inch, and it still fall into the ports on these heads just fine. So, yeah, we'll see how it works. A single full barrel. I feel like we're going backwards in time, but there's a lot of people run single full barrels. I'm not knocking them. What's interesting is it looks like the floor almost matches up perfectly. It's the, the sides and the roof and all that stuff that the intake is way smaller. But, I mean, that's a good thing, I guess. I mean, again, it's the better of the worst. I mean, I say it's going to kill some power because the runners are so tiny, but as far as them matching up, the floors match up across the board, and the intake, I mean, honestly, the intake can move out and back and still be within the walls of the heads. So, I mean, yeah, we're fine. It's like they go off. You see this little tunnel when you're looking through there, go off, and then all of a sudden it just opens up in this cave in there. It's just so much difference between the port sizes. But the floors are almost like a smooth transition. Like there's no step or lift or nothing. So the floors match up perfect. It's just width and height on these trick flow ports are so much bigger than what this Street Master intake is. I'll bring you in here so you can see what I'm talking about. This is the ports on this thing. This gasket matches those heads down there. You see the mismatch here? These Street Master intakes are not good intakes. The ports are so tiny on them. It actually sits more like this. Somewhere the ports are so tiny on them. And, there's a lot of people out there go, well, you just port them. The problem is with porting these is they're so tiny, there's not enough meat in here to port it enough to flow like a good set of heads or a good intake. So these are always going to take a little power away from you. Now for a street motor, it makes about 300, 350 horsepower. They're probably great intakes. With stock cast iron style heads, they're probably phenomenal intakes. With something like this engine, that's going to kill power. But if this proves the theory right, that it was a distribution problem because the carburetor's turned sideways, and now the engine's happy and drives good on the street, we can get through street and yeet with this, kill a little power, get through street and yeet with this, and then when street and yeet's over, we'll find a Dove or a Edelbrock makes a Victor Jr. There's other intakes out there that have good ports. They're a little taller. They have good runner length. There's other single planes available. It's just these an RPM performs better than them. Boy, there's somebody out there right now mad typing on the keyboard because they read a book that showed the dyno results and blah, blah, blah. I'm telling you right now, I've had one of these before. Took it off, bolted an RPM on, and the car made a faster ET. I'm telling you, those are not great intakes. But we're trying to see if I was right about the theory of what was going on. And if I am, this will get us through street yeet. Okay, intake is on, bolted down. You know, kind of assholes and elbows right now. So I'm not filming a lot of it. But it's on there, and keep an eye out on the channel in the future, because at some point in time, that intake right there will be for sale, or maybe do a giveaway on it or something. But at some point in time, somebody else will own that intake. It'll be great for a street motor, which is what the majority of people would want anyway. It's not exactly right for the application in which I'm using it. But again, we're trying to test the theory and see if our theory was correct. Okay, another quick update. Intake is on, distributor is in, firing order is set. Hey, here's you a trick if you ever want to pull the distributor out, but you don't want to have to fool with the timing. The timing was dead on where it needed to be, the way the engine was. Now it may want something a little different this time, but I know it'll run where it was. So what you do is, when you take your distributor out, wherever the rotor button is pointing, make your mark. Doesn't matter where it's at, just make a mark where the rotor button's pointing. Pull the distributor out. When you put the distributor back in, make sure the rotor button is pointing at that same mark. Your timing is going to be where it was when you took it out. So there's your little trick of the day kind of thing. And it'll work. The engine should fire right up when we get, everything else on it, and we can adjust from there. Last update of the evening, it's getting late. So got the rockers and push rods doing that side. This side is done. Carbs on, distributors in. I gotta do rockers and push rods on that side. And then put the hose on, fill it with coolant, hook a fuel line up, and we should be able to test our theory. But that'll probably happen in the morning. It's getting late at night. Okay, I guess one of the good things about daylight savings time, is that what it's called? I don't know. It gets daylight early. I mean, it was daylight about 6:30 this morning, which means I get out here and make some progress. So right now, I've got everything done except for the fuel line ran, and I've got to get some plugs to plug off some of the ports in this intake. I mean, again, it's more of a street intake, so it's got vacuum ports and all kind of things on it. Once I get those ports plugged off and a fuel line run up there, I should be ready to start the engine and see if this solves our problem. What I don't know if I've talked about or not, I don't know if I've said it or not, because this video has been over the course of several days, is the fact that this engine's got to come out of this car. No matter what happens right now, this engine's got to come out of this car. This is to see if our theory was right about a fuel distribution issue. And if that solves that issue, then we know we're one step closer to being able to get this engine, which is the engine we want to run, to street yeet. Now, the reason the engine has to come out is because this thing has a terrible leak from the back of the oil pan. I'm pretty sure it's the rear seal leaking in the motor, actually. And if you're not familiar with FE engines, if you're a Mopar guy, they're, Mopar's the same way. They're a deep skirted block. Means the main cap sets up inside of it, and there's two, what would be an easy way to describe them? Rubber dowels, I guess is the easy way to describe them, that go up in those sides of those main caps. And sometimes they don't get in there. They don't get seated in there like they're supposed to. Maybe sometimes they're a little undersized. I don't know what the issue is, but every once in a while you get one that leaks. Now, there's people that claim all of them leak. That's simply not true. And all the years that I've messed with FEs, I've only had 2 of them ever leak on me. One was back in 2019, the very first engine that we put together for this car and put in here. The rear seal leaked, but it barely leaked. It was just a drip every once in a while. No big deal. And then there's this one. This one right here leaves a puddle when it stops, and I can't do that on track. So now the downside is with this big oil pan on it, the oil pan is pretty close to touching the cross member. It's got like a credit card or a business card worth of space between the oil pan and the cross member. So I can't drop the oil pan with it in the car. Now, I am going to try to see if I can put a plate on it and pick the engine up enough to maybe drop the oil pan, but I'm looking at the space that I have with the bell housing, and that I don't think it's going to work. But I'm not out anything if it don't. I've already got to pick the motor up. So if I put a plate on it, pick the motor up, and go, that won't work. Well, then I just set it back down and bolt the bell housing and pull it out. If I pick the motor up, I might be pleasantly surprised and go, wait a minute, this might work, and then I can get it out. The issue, I know a lot of people think if I can just get it down enough, slide it forward. The issue is this oil pan has like a pocket that the pickup for the oil pump sits down in, and it's got little doors around it and everything. The oil pan can't slide out back. The oil pan has to come down, and it has to come down enough to clear all that, and then it can go out, which is quite a lot considering this is I think a 10-quart pan, so it's got quite the deep sump on the front of it. The point in all that is 90% sure the engine's going to have to come out. At this moment, it is Friday morning. I need to be packed up and ready to leave Monday. So that means I will pull the engine out. I will drive the car around the block, pull the engine out this afternoon. And then my Saturday is going to be all about trying to get this thing put together and back in this car. Normally pulling the engine out of this car is not that big a deal. I did it for years when I raced with Sega. I've made everything with plugs and kind of modular and the coil sitting over so you can lay everything over. So there's really no wiring to undo. There's 2 plugs on the motor. Unhook the oil line and unhook the hoses, and you can pull this motor up. And I ran shorty headers for the first several years with Sega, and it was no problem. I could pick it up with the headers on it. These headers are a freaking nightmare. Yes, they flow great. They help make power, and they work well. But these Hooker Super Comp headers are an absolute nightmare to get on and off this car. You'll spend a half a day just trying to finagle these headers in and out. So that part is going to be the biggest pain. Now I still have those shorties. I could put those shorties back on it, but they're so tiny. It's going to kill. I mean, we're just killing power and killing power and killing power at that point. So I want to leave these headers on it, but it is going to be an absolute nightmare. It'll take 2 hours just to get the Z-bar for the clutch out of this car because of the way they weave through these header tubes. So point is, we need to get this thing around the block as soon as possible so that we can get back and get to work on getting this engine out as soon as possible. Okay, here's the biggest, the most amazing part of the entire thing yet. Just so I can drive this car and test my theory, I took my old dual carb linkage and just hacked it together with some AN fittings, a bunch of them, and made a fuel log. It's only temporary, but it don't freaking leak. You'd think when you have a mess of fittings like that it would probably leak, but it doesn't, and holds good pressure. So that either means I used up all my good luck on that junk, or that the car wants to go back together and run. I'm hoping it's the latter. All right, so now I just got to plugs in the intake to plug those ports off, get my thermostat fitting off of, not thermostat, my temp gauge fitting off of that intake, put in this intake, and we may be ready to do something. I hope so. And I hope this solves the problem. Okay, I got to run to the parts store. I thought I had some, but I don't. There's a plug back there that I got to put in. It's a vacuum port, so I got to plug that off so that it'll run properly. Freaking fuel lines, and it's fine. It's fine. It's just there long enough to test the theory. And also, I know it's going to run lean because that carburetor is jetted way down, because I was running, of course, 2 of them. So it's jetted way down. So I know it's even going to be lean. That's not even the point. The point is to see if it will actually run below 3,000 RPMs now and do what it's supposed to. And that'll tell me if it was a fuel distribution issue the whole time, or if there's some other issue in the engine. That's what this is all about. We can change jets, we can fix the fuel line, we can do all that stuff. We just need to know if this itself will work, because I know I got to pull the engine anyway. And the point of all this is if this solves the problem, we're going to pull the engine and fix the oil leak. If this doesn't solve the problem, we're going to pull the engine and stick a different engine in. So this is telling me what my next step is going to be. Oh man, what a different car it is now. You would not, if you rode in it yesterday and today, you would not even realize that this is the same car. It is so drastically different right now. I don't even know how to describe it. And I'm not picking on the carburetors or the intake. That intake was made, honestly designed to use something like 2 660 center squirters, and or you could use like the 600s lined up like Ford did or something along those lines, and it would be fine. I was running completely the wrong setup on it, plus turned sideways. It was me that screwed that up. But I needed to know, and this setup runs so good. Yes, it is down on power. You can feel it on the road, but it runs so good. You can put it in gear, ease out on the clutch, and now it will just idle itself off. Tip in is good. It is a different animal. You can physically feel it down on power, but keep in mind, we didn't reject the carburetor. I was going to, and I didn't. It slipped my mind, and I'd already put it together, so I'm like, it ain't going to matter to go around the block. So the carburetor needs to be jetted up a good bit. It's definitely lean right now. Didn't even put a timing light on it. We just wanted to know if this was going to work, and even with the tune completely out of whack right now, this car drove absolutely wonderful. Smooth transitions, when you shift, it was smooth. It was a different car completely, and that's what we need to do for Street News. Run that. Now I got to get it in here, yank the engine out, and fix that oil leak. Probably won't put that in this video because this video is already getting long, but this car is a completely different animal. So the plan now is, we're already into Friday now. Again, I need to be ready to go on Monday. So the plan right now is to yank the engine out of this thing tonight. I'm going to make the drive to Summit early in the morning and pick up a couple of parts and drive back home and have tomorrow evening to get everything put back together, with a plan for this car to be running and driving again Sunday. Yeah, no, nothing like waiting the last minute, right? Running and driving again by Sunday, and then we can drive it around Sunday and some Monday and make sure nothing else is going to bite us. And then we leave out for the track early Tuesday morning, and we're going with no safety net. I don't know if I've mentioned that, but if I'm going to do a drive and drag, I'm no offense to the guys that do it differently. This is how I like to do it. The drive and drags I do, well, if I'm trying to prove it's a street car that I can go fast in, which is the point of a drive and drag, I'm not hauling the track on a trailer. We're going no safety net. We're driving this thing from the house to the first stop where we get teched, and everybody else puts their tow vehicles in the impound. We get teched and we'll be ready to go. So we're going no safety net and driving this thing about 2 hours from home, 2.5 hours from home, somewhere in that neighborhood, to the first stop and the tech spot and all that stuff. So yeah, we're just going to hang it out there and see what happens. And I think we're going to be okay, barring some unforeseen incident. But I've got to get this engine out of this thing and fix this oil leak. And God, I dread these headers so much. I really have thought about putting the shorties back on it just for time. But I'm already killing a bunch of power. With that intake, so I don't know if I want to do that or not. So I guess we'll see what I do when it comes down to you looking at the old watch and going, oh, we are out of time. We got to get this thing going. Then it'll be throw the other shorties on it. But as long as everything goes like it's supposed to and we don't find no major surprises, I think we're ready to go. You know, once I pull the engine, put it back in, it's fine. I mean, I got like 3 days. It's fine. Everything's fine. Okay, guys, so this will be the last event for me of the year. I got to get back to other people's projects and vehicles that I've got around here that need to be done. So this is going to be the last thing I do this year, and hopefully we have some pretty good success at it. I thank you guys so much for watching, liking, sharing, subscribing, and all that stuff. I need all the watch hours I can get over the next few weeks to help pay for all this. So please watch these videos and share them. And please ask your friends to watch these videos and share them. And actually, between me and you, this is just between us now. I don't care if you actually watch them. Put them on your phone and lay your phone down and go somewhere else and just let it play in the background. It's the same thing. YouTube doesn't know the difference. You got me? So anyway, I appreciate you guys so much. I got to get this thing in here now and yank this engine out. The good thing is all I got to do is just pick the engine up, high enough to drop the oil pan off of it and fix the oil leak, put it back on, and set the engine down. I don't necessarily even need to put it on an engine stand. I just need to get it up in the air so I can do that. So, God bless you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope the Lord bless you more today than he did yesterday. To him be the glory, guys. We will see you on the next one. And the next one will be us leaving for Street and Yeet. Y'all hang in there.
I'd say it's a nut job.